Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of the Talk Away A1A podcast. We do have a special guest today, one that we have had requested a fair few times in the past few weeks, as he's been making more and more appearances on the channel. But I am Shadow's Reign, I am Hoff, this is Hexy.
And what we're going to discuss with you today is free to play versus pay to win.
We're going to be talking about the work-game balance,
Contact center work,
news, announcements, and rumours, including Battlefield 2042. I can already tell Hexy's buzzing about that one.
and now one of our very favourite players, Ginger Fox, upgrades his GPU.
Very exciting times. And then we've got everybody's favourite, Did Ye Nah? I am currently getting whipped. It is currently, I have 1 point. I think Hexy, I might have 2. I think Hexy has the rest. And Guest has 1. Guestler has 1. But our guest today is quite confident he's going to be securing that second point. And that is Trojan. How you doing, my friend?
Not bad.
Good man.
Looking a bit, not looking as red as I thought. So, having a wheel of a time, boys. Having a wheel of a time. How are you doing?
We're all right, man. So, before we get going, let's just basically tell the audience a little bit about yourself, because you don't actually play that many games with us. However, you do actually end up being like background audio in videos where you're either rinsing me or Hexy or coming out with absolute bangers or taking screenshots of things on streams you shouldn't be. So, yeah, who are you?
Me, obviously, alias is Trojan. My name's Andrew. I am 26. Most of the time, why I'm not in like games and that type of stuff is because Battle Royale is garbage. Is the long and the short of it. I cannot wait for the Battle Royale as a genre to die a death, which is probably a controversial opinion on the basis of what your channel is.
Well, the channel is for now, but we've got some news coming up which might be changing that in the future. Yeah. So what kind of games do you play when you get around to it, man?
So Warframe's the main one at the minute. Rocket League. I don't mind COD multiplayer, just as long as the game chat is turned off, because all you end up hearing is garbage from other people.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Shit from other people.
Well, you said it, not us. But so obviously we've known you. Well, I've known you for a very long time. Pretty much.
Too long.
Yeah, too long. I second that, mate. You're quite new to Hexy, even though you seem to have already chosen a favourite. So yeah, that's nice, man. But
Team Hexy all the way.
Team Hexy all the way. But
I'm a likeable guy. What can I say?
Yes. So, cancelling out your bromance a little bit, because I'm a bit jealous. Obviously, you are new-ish to the PC sphere, so to speak. So, what actually got you into PC gaming? What actually got you in this new world, so to speak?
So primarily, primarily started on an Xbox, because obviously fuck PlayStation. But it started off with an Xbox 360, moved on to an Xbox One, and eventually started looking more at like the performance of games and that type of stuff, wanting better frame rate, because frame rate's better than graphic fidelity. Prove me wrong.
Debate for another day.
A mass debate.
I'm Team Andrew here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying it's a debate for another day.
It's not a debate. I'm right. It's not a discussion. It's a statement.
2v1 overruled.
But obviously, I had the thought of getting a PC. Obviously, everyone else won't know the story, but I got in touch with you because I had no idea. I was just like, right, I want something that's slightly overpowered, so it'll go the distance a bit, so I don't have to faff on with upgrading all the time. And I think the description I give to most people when they go, well, what do you look for in a PC? Is if you imagine a guy wearing a coat and he's in the wind, I'm more interested, and this is how I explained it to Hoff when I wanted to build my PC. It's like, I want the coat to flap very smoothly rather than there being a lot of detail on the coat. That was the long and short of it. And he basically took that and put that into sort of PC spec.
Yeah, so it kind of went one way where I didn't actually quite know what you were after, because it was a bit like Ginger Fox when you came to us wanting a PC. I was like, you really? Thought you were just like quite happy just being on console, and PC's always elitism and master racy and all that stuff. But then when you got in touch, I was like, right, we're gonna build it over the space of a couple of weeks and have a little look at it. And then I took it in to pick a case. I took it into a computer store, and you were like, yeah, okay, I'm buying one today. So it's kind of one of the funnier stories of how someone's computer turned out. And remember that you had a small car at the time, and we pretty much packed the full thing full of computer stuff, and then tried to shove somebody in the back of the car at the same time. So that was
essentially, obviously, we weren't just bundling someone in. We bought a computer. You get in.
pretty much picking people up off the street. PC, yeah, go on, get yourself in. But how have you found it since, man?
I mean, I haven't looked back, to be honest. I mean, I've jumped on the Xbox here and there, mainly because of the people that I spoke to, who I gamed with on there. But more recently, like, more than out else, I cannot be asked to keep updating two different things. It's just a no-go. Like, it just cannot be chewed with it.
Yeah, well, it seems from my perspective it's been pretty good for you, bar that one time your PC just wanted to go out for a drive. But apart from that, it seems to have went pretty well for you. But the PC going for a drive was a pretty funny day. Computer's broken, don't know what's wrong. Go on, you tell the story.
that was bollocks. So plugging it in, trying to turn it on. So to be fair, there was a little bit of build-up before I actually got in touch with you, to be fair. So tried to turn it on, came up with incorrect boot device, please select correct boot device, turned it off, turned it back on, turned it off, turned it on again, rinse and repeat about 4 or 5 times. It didn't work, so I unplugged the kettle lead, the power supply, and threw it across the landing in a temper.
As you do.
A tantrum. Plugged it in, it worked, which was class. And then I tried to turn it on the next day, and it just done the same thing. So that's when I rang you. Obviously, then you're like, all right, ISO, bring it over. Just bring the tower, bring your cable, your sort of power lead. We'll have a look. Obviously, boxes everything up, puts it in the car, drives over to yours, and you plug it in. It decides to just turn on as if to make us look like a massive cock. Fun times.
It was one of the funniest things ever. It's like, fuck it, my PC just wanted to drive. So that's the first diagnostic step.
Same at work as well. I can't do my job, mate. My computer's not working. All right, I'll come over and have a look at it. As soon as a gaffer comes over, has a look. Aye, right. My computer's just like, what I'm gonna do to make you look like an absolute cock, I'm gonna start working. So.
But that's the first troubleshooting step with his computer. Next time, take it for a drive. While we're briefly on that topic, have you ever had any issues with your computer? Mine's have been full of illicit substances. It's not that bad, to be fair. Hexy.
Me?
Yeah.
Anything happened to my computer? Nothing's happened to my computer.
Yeah.
No.
Other than the copious amount of porn.
No, that's strictly gaming. I don't even have Microsoft Word on it. Like,
I thought you said something else there.
I think the only thing we've ever had to do. Go on, sorry, carry on. Just games.
Yeah, games, and when I feel up to it, streaming. That's it. It's capable of doing those two things, which is the 2 reasons I bought it. So
I think
I'm quite happy.
I think the only 2 issues I've had with your computer, Hexy, is when you moved out, we realised how much full of tobacco it was. Not based on you, but like on like housemates you'd had at the time, or people you've had round. You're like, well, that's never happening again. And then when your shadow player was outputting the wrong screen just for a laugh.
Oh yeah,
that was a fun one.
Apart from that, we did kind of brush over it. But so what was happening is I was playing games and I changed for some reason. Oh right, yeah. So I didn't have, when we first moved, I didn't have me Elgato set up. Because I had kind of like a single screen, small area, until I kind of got like a desk in it, like everything kind of set up. And so I had to change the keybind within Shadowplay And what it did is when I changed it, and then I set my stream deck up, and when I was pressing it, it was actually recording the other screen because I switched them over, so it was easier for to get clips.
Well,
So
that
yeah, so I
backfired.
missed out on a lot of good clips when it come to Call of Duty and the release and stuff like that. Like a lot of good snipes and building up the Swiss and things like that. I didn't get to really share it with the channel on Facebook and stuff that I wanted to, because I just really forgot that I totally changed the keybinds.
It's
simple as that.
It's often the simplest things that throw you off, though. Like on
Yeah.
a serious note, which is quite annoying when you think it's something massively complicated. It's just like when you kind of click on. But obviously, you're on about your Warzone footage there. And Warzone is a free-to-play game, and that's going to lead us into our first topic of the day, being free-to-play versus pay-to-win. Now, a lot of games, doesn't matter if it's on PC, mobile, console, a lot of them are becoming free-to-play now. But are you starting to sense a bit of pay-to-win coming into the game? So we'll take Warzone, for example. So you can buy your legendary blueprints. These are for like guns like the Bruin, Grau. I can't remember if it was unlocked on the Battle Pass or not. It was that long ago. But basically, some of the stronger weapons in the game at the time were challenge only, and we briefly touched on this with Onion last week. Yet you had to pretty much the only way you could get the guns really was to buy the multiplayer or to buy the blueprint. How convenient. The only way to take part in the meta meaningfully when the FFAR and the DMR were meta were buy the blueprints. Yes, you could technically do them on the multiplayer, but you're not ranking them up quick enough to actually do so. Buy the multiplayer, pay to win element in that. And then, of course, you do have the mobile games. You do have other games as well, which let's just take that. What was that game I made that review for? Scavengers, where it's not quite pay to win. However, it's got opportunity to be pay to win. And how are you guys feeling about the free to play and play to win argument? And is pay to win a bad thing?
Wait, I've got we can kind of brush over that because with Trojan currently playing Warframe, which is a very purchasable game. It's free to download and you do get a choice of free characters. But as Trojan's found out over the course of the last few weeks he's been playing it, a couple of the characters he's said purchased have been destroying his just destroying his levels, making it so easy for him to kind of whip through. Would you like to comment a little bit further on that, Trojan? Because you're the one that's experienced it.
To be fair though, with Warframe's it's a niche, because I think it's not so much pay to win, because there is a PvP element to it, Conclave, but no one plays it because it is absolute garbage. Like, I've legitimately tried to find a game on it, and I'm not even shitting you, probably is about 20 minutes, and no joy. So I mean, you can pay. So it's like Prime Access, which is basically if a new Prime Warframe comes out, rather than you can go out, you can get like the relics, you can crack the relics, get the parts, get the blueprints, build it for free. But if you're a lazy bastard, which most of the time I am, you can get that old credit card Prime out and give it a quick.
So how do you actually feel about that though? Like, would you? Because obviously we are all working full time, and you don't have the privilege to put in all those hours that say someone who is on the dole can put into a certain game. So do you like the fact that you can just walk up and then pay for your success and kind of get ahead of the game of those who've like been putting in like the hard hours, or do you think that's unfair, or do you think that all games should have that kind of model? Like, what's your vibe on that?
Again, difficult one, because the game itself is free to play. Do you know what I mean? So like, there's the only thing that you can't physically get without buying are certain cosmetics. Which, I mean, at the end of the day, if you've got money to be buying sort of sparkly sort of things, and it's not like skins like in likes of Warzone, where it's going to give you like a competitive edge because it makes you like hide away in dark corners better. It's literally like, if you run along, you can have like purple leaves falling off your coat or something shite like that. So it's subjective.
Cosmetics.
Aye, pretty much, but not even that in depth. Think of it more like the trails from cars.
Yeah.
That's the sort of level you're looking at, or like armor attachments, which just make you look pretty. So more like the hats that you can put on your car, the toppers and that. But I mean, from a standpoint with like the company's got to make their money somewhere. Do you know what I mean? We can't just
Absolutely.
like you're both. Well, you've played a taxi, you've seen me play it.
Yeah,
Do you know
it's
what I
quite
mean?
a good game. Like I've played it. It's enjoyable. I mean,
And
for me, that game, it felt like I was repeating a lot of the levels, so I found it hard to grind.
But do you feel as if you could catch up to where Trojan was if you spent enough? Like, can you feel as if you would be competitive?
I mean, I could buy the primes and the weapons and stuff like that to kind of get what he has, but at the same time, you've still got to level up those weapons, and you've still got to get like kind of like perks as such.
Yeah.
For to have like damage increases and stuff. So I couldn't necessarily pay me way to Trojan's level. I could possibly get a lot of the cosmetic where I could probably get all of the cosmetic items, but it's not going to make us a better player. Like Trojan's obviously going to still be better at that game, and he's still going to have a lot more progress in it and a lot more things that he can use to boost his, like things like damage per second and speed of his character and stuff. And it is very much a PvE sort of game.
Okay.
So it is something you kind of jump on with your friends and you go and you just run around with a sword or guns and you can choose to slash, dash, shoot, and do whatever you want. It's a great game. So, I mean, I see where Andrew's coming from. It's hard to put it under a pay to win if there's no PvP.
We're not necessarily asking the question, is Warframe pay to win? I'm just using like that game as an example. So another game which might be a bit more subtle about it is, let's say, League of Legends, where yes, you can get your characters unlocked via in-game currency, or if a new champion comes out and they're broken, you don't quite have enough of that currency to buy them, you can just swipe your credit card or your debit card, and then you've got that champion, you've got the skins, and you've got that advantage straight up. There's no limitation to what you do. There's no I've got to play so many hours before I can unlock said character. If I'm willing to pay for said character, I can have said character. Is that unfair to those who don't have money, or is it literally the case if you're going to put all these hours in, that's what makes it fair for you? And of course, it's a free to play game. Like, where is there a line, and if so, where? I think is the question.
Opinion.
It's
Unpopular opinion.
topic.
That's why you're here.
I'll say no. It's to a degree not a bad thing, because there's a lot of semantics that you can get into where you get to the point where, so someone who doesn't go out drinking, someone who doesn't smoke, someone who doesn't do drugs, they don't have, like, say, motorbikes or downhill mountain bikes, they don't go and play golf, and their thing is gaming. There comes a point where, like, you've got to think, are you demonizing someone for having money? Do you know what I mean? Like, if a game's free to play, the business has to make their money somewhere. So I think I'd say where the line is where something is physically locked behind a paywall, where you can't, so say that character you can't physically get through in-game currency or otherwise, unless you have to.
So long as there's
so
long as there's a way that the free to play and free playing player can unlock it, it's fair. It is what you're saying, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, like, look at it in a different context. If you take away gaming, so if we took away me having a car, me turning around to Hexy and going, right, let's have a race to town. You walk, and then and then I go and get the bus. It's like is that pay to win? No, I've paid for it. Like I've paid for it. And at the end of the day, it's a different context. If you're in a position where you're able to do that, do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
and for argument's sake, just playing the devil's advocate, so to speak. Say that I'm an unemployed Jim. If your name is Jim and you're employed, please don't take offense. But say I am Jim and I don't have a job, and I'm grafting like 8 hours a day to unlock this champion. 8 hours, 9 hours, longer maybe. It's even like a full gaming session, like a full 12, 13, 14 hour gaming session it takes me to unlock one character. And then you rock in with your 30 quid and then unlock 5 characters. what do you say to me when I'm booting off about that? What do you say to Jim when Jim's booting off how that's unfair and all that stuff on a free to play game?
Well, I mean, 5 characters is a bit of a stretch.
3, 2, 1, 1 even.
I mean, even if it's 1, so you've got the time to be able to put that graft in there. My graft's currently elsewhere, so if I have something that can get me that character at the same time by not doing that work, if my resources are elsewhere, do you know what I mean? Because you could argue, right? Well, it's not fair that he can play more than me. Like, where do you draw the line in that respect?
Arguably, you have worked for it. You've just put your time elsewhere.
Yeah,
So you could still kind of count itself as a reward in the way that someone's put 8 hours a day into gaming. You haven't been able to put that 8 hours into a day for gaming, but you supply a full-time job. You could arguably, I can't even say it. You could say, yeah, that technically you have still worked for it because it's still taken physical energy and time. You've just went a different route.
Yeah, and then there's the argument of, let's just say, for example, that let's say something costs 3 hours of your wage. I don't know what you're on, but let's just say for argument's sake it's minimum wage, right? So let's just say something comes and it costs £24 to buy this skin. That's 3 hours of your time, and then you compare that to the 8 hours of time it's taken Jim to unlock said character. Like, how is that unfair on Jim, or is the attitude to Jim, well, you should actually be grateful that there's a way that you can still compete with me with all that spare time you put in the game? Like, what's the vibe on that particular topic?
So Jim spent more time working, but during that time, Jim didn't want to burst into flames. So, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Going to work's awful.
Jim didn't want to do that.
No, but it might not necessarily be that he didn't want to do it. He might be physically unable. I'm not getting into the semantics of that side of things. But
Jim's a perfectly fine human. Well, everyone's human. Perfectly fine, totally fit. Like,
Jim should be happy, really, because he's also got the experience as well, because that's something that you can't buy with a credit card.
This is true.
So there is kind of that build up, that experience and that workload that increases your gameplay as a player. Starting with something terrible, getting good with it, moving on and moving on and moving on. And someone who can just come in with a card, yeah, they may be able to get that gun. But to be honest, if you work for that gun and they've come in and paid with it, you're still probably going to be the better player just out of experience.
Do you think that games should be pay to win?
No.
Cosmetically. No, just cosmetically.
Pay to treat yourself.
Yeah.
Pay to treat yourself.
Yeah, personalization stuff.
All right, then why?
Even like with sort of, like I was just touching back on that, like the model within Warframe. So, for example, the premium currency you can actually earn in game. So, for example, someone swipes their credit card and they buy the Prime Warframe. Someone who's playing the game can basically do missions. You get the drops for the relics, which is where you get like the parts and stuff like that from. And say, for example, if you've already done that farm, you've already got that Warframe. What you can then do is use that sort of, get those blueprints and sell that set of blueprints to someone who has the premium in-game currency through trading in-game for that person to, for example, be able to get the level up. Do you know what I mean? Because that's going to be cheaper than buying, say, the actual pack directly from the company. And in that sense, Jim, even though he's already done the farm, he's had to put in the work, he can still obviously get that benefit from that. And obviously Derek, or whatever we're going to call the other bloke, he can still use his card or use whatever platinum. But I think
credit Derek.
If there was a way to get, say for example, if it was a premium in-game currency model, something that is achievable, so someone who's willing to put in the work, obviously the more that they're playing, they're going to get rare items that other people don't have that they want. So that still then gives this person the opportunity to get that premium in-game currency, and in the future when something sort of new comes out, they can then use that premium currency to get it at the point of launch. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I absolutely get that. Hexy, what's your view on that, on the same question? Should games be pay to win?
I mean,
Ooh,
pay to
controversial opinion alert coming up here. I can tell by the look on his face.
like, I don't think it should be pay to win.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there should definitely be a balance. So, like, the way Andrew explains it, like, to give someone who does free to play an opportunity to win in-game currency, like, I think that balances the field.
Yeah.
I think if we're talking on that level, like, I think it is balanced, because obviously they get the experience, the grind, they've got more time to play. This person hasn't got that much time, but they can come in with a little bit of extra money to get similar cosmetics or guns, not to get an advantage, but to kind of level the playing field. But it doesn't make them as good as the person who's grinded it.
Yeah. So
They might be naturally just a good player and be better with a credit card, which you can be naturally gifted with something.
Credit card, fine.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I think there should be a balance.
yeah.
Like, I don't agree with one more than the other. I don't think that someone should be able to come in, because you do see games where you can buy, like, it's like £100 pack. Do you know, to kind of get those advantages and stuff like that? Like, people putting £100 into a game for a pack and something extra in-game currency. I don't think that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't give the free-to-play, like, the free-to-play player doesn't have an opportunity to get that also if they don't have the income to support it. So I think there should definitely be a balance. I don't agree with one or the other.
Yeah.
Like, I can't fight for both. I've got to find a middle ground.
So the general consensus that I'm getting off people is that so long as what you can pay for isn't exclusive to those with the credit card, to the Derek, then it's fine. However, that gym has still got to have an opportunity to grind and earn for said thing. So here's when we'll talk about the balance though. Like, what is the balance? Should something that Jim does for 3 hours reward the same thing that Derek works for 3 hours, say at minimum wage? Like, should 3 hours of income equate to 3 hours of gameplay, or is it right to be set up a bit elevated? Is it right that 3 hours of Derek's work, who's going to be paying for this, is about the same as what will be 8 or 9 hours for Jim to unlock? Where do you think the balance is in that regard? Because then if everyone can do it with either money in 3 hours or in gameplay in 3 hours, then people might argue that it's a bit unfair on the person who's paying. So
I would say it should be tilted more towards the person that's paying.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if that person's not paying, so let's just say that person as a demographic in general doesn't exist. If that person doesn't exist in any way, shape, or form, and there's no one else like them, Jim hasn't got a game to play anyways, because there's no money going into it.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say there. Yeah, if Derek's not paying for it, Jim can't play the game either. Derek is paying for Jim's game. So, like, where is that balance? Do you guys agree with the fact that maybe it should be? I'm not saying this is my own opinion, but as a neutral in this argument per se, do you guys feel as if what is 9-10 hours to grind for should be about 2-3 hours of Derek's wage? Is that fair?
I would say if we're talking say a 2 hour grind, if we're talking like, say, money wise, 3 hours of actual work, so like going to a job, for example, in a hypothetical, I would say the game time should be like, say if it's 3 hours work, it should be 4.5 hours game time, so it's like 0.5 more. I think for someone to have to put in like double the amount of time wise is a bit extensive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
you've got to take
absolutely
into consideration someone's travel to and from work, you know.
But I think like the consensus is
that
that
not getting paid for.
Derek is paying for Jim's game in that way. You know what I mean? So the next kind of topic which I want to come into is a bit like Warzone, is a bit like FIFA in particular. What about games that you pay for, which then have microtransactions that make it easier to win? Where do we stand on that one, boys?
That's wrong.
Oh, like you're talking things like Ultimate Team and
Ultimate
stuff,
Team, blueprints on card. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
even then, though, if we're talking Warzone specifically, you don't pay for Warzone. So blueprints, that's their way of getting their coin.
Okay, what about the game that you
I
like? COD, multiplayer.
I'd say having something locked behind a paywall after I've already bought the game. So prime example with this one. It's slight tangent, but like so with Destiny, for example.
Destiny 2.
Destiny 2 specifically. So you bought the game, you bought DLC, and then the developers decided that the game was getting too clogged. So they decided to remove DLC. So parts of the game that you paid for, that you've bought, they remove from the game to make it work more efficiently. And then in a further DLC down the line, or it might have been like a battle pass, or because everyone in that fucking nana is making battle passes now. Part of a battle pass, they basically brought in content from Destiny 1, and it's like, listen, fucker, I already bought that game as well. If I wanted to play Destiny 1, what I would have done is, rather than going into the menu and selecting Destiny 2, I would have selected Destiny 1. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's like force feeding you shit that you've already bought, you've already played, you bought a new game, and now you're playing the first game and the second game. It's like, well, especially with stuff, if you're buying the game and then they're saying, oh yeah, he has this bit of this game that you need to sort of be competitive. Yeah, mate, come have more of your money. It's like, no, pal, you can suck a fart out my arse. That's not happening.
Yeah, so in regards to stuff like that, I think another example of that is FIFA Ultimate Team. So you pay full whack, 60 quid for your copy and paste FIFA game or Madden or whatever.
That's just like standard. That's
whatever.
Standard.
Your generic jock sports game, okay? I can't really say that because my girlfriend plays a lot of FIFA. Anyway,
More of a bloke than you.
funny. So you play the game, and then you want to play the Ultimate Team, which is a really cool aspect. The idea of Ultimate Team is it's really good. You can free to play that. However, it's a much more beneficial if you use the cards. If you use your credit card, your debit card, or a lot of examples in the past few years is Mummy and Daddy's credit card. So where do you find a pay-to-win aspect of a game in a paid game? Like, it is obviously it's not acceptable, but is it something that you could justify spending your money on? Is that fair for Jim, who's actually paid for FIFA, one of the few games he does pay for? Is that fair on Jim from that point on? Like, what do you guys think of that kind of transaction? What that kind of, let's be real, douchebaggery?
I think I would have just bought FIFA 99 and be done with it because it's the same game anyway. Plus, back then you could hack the ref. That was better. Better days.
You could hack the ref, yeah, instant red card. I do find that quite funny. Hexer, you actually play bits of FIFA every here and there.
I played 16 to 19. I mean, I did try as a kid, but like my brother didn't teach us anything. Like, it was just, I was really young and he just like hammered it. He just used to use it to like just score goals against us. But then obviously a friend that we all know got us into FIFA and showed us the ropes a bit and got us into it. And I got into the whole Ultimate Team, spent fortunes over the years, like loads on Ultimate Team. Because like, if you're not, FIFA's a game where if you're not spending an Ultimate Team,
your team's not ultimate.
No, it's not. It's really you need players like the Kevin De Bruyne and like Aguero's, and you need those players, and you start with a bronze team and very little cash.
Yeah.
And the FIFA points. I understand it's a gamble, right? You're not guaranteed to get good cards.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's packs as well. That's RNG.
It is, yeah. So it's like gambling as well. And so essentially you just kind of whack your credit card in, you get so many points, and you kind of just figure out how to get as many players as possible, open as many packs, and get what you're given, pretty much. the random stuff you sell off to make your normal foot coin. For those that don't play FIFA, that's just what you use to actually go into the market and buy your players. But it's messed up.
Yeah, because
like,
you've said it.
absolutely.
You've said it yourself there, though, Hexy. Like, to compete, you have to be paying.
Yes,
Which,
in
in its
order to
nature, makes it pay to win in a game.
Mm-hmm.
Might I add that you've paid for? Why? Why would you invest your money into such a thing? Like, what?
Gaming's fucked, boys.
I
It's
spend
fucked.
hundreds of pounds in each FIFA. Hundreds.
Ah,
Hundreds of
bad
it.
crack that, man.
It's
Bad crack.
addictive. It's addictive. It is. You don't understand.
Well, it's
the
gambling.
way-
Gambling is
well,
addictive.
yeah, but as well, do you know, like when you open up a pack and you get like an 85 walkout.
And you get
know
that
what I mean?
lovely little music and that little hum of the anticipation.
yeah, they're
I
just
know
like
how loot packs feel, man.
Like so, like but you're
Sorry,
like,
surprise
yes,
mechanics.
you're like, yes, I've got it, and then you kind of just forget the 200-300 quid you've spent to get this one player.
So here's a question for you then, Hexy, being someone who's
Yeah.
been there. When you get the good players and you've obviously unlocked them, is that a... Do you feel as if you've achieved that, or do you just feel as if you've been lucky? Like, what's the feeling? What's the vibe when that actually happens?
Well, you just feel like you've won. I mean, you've got something that not many people have.
Yeah.
And-
You create RNGs as before you
Well, yeah.
open the pack.
RNG
like,
Jesus.
For people like us, Craig, that we don't compete, but we're like the competitive edge of games.
Mm-hmm.
Having a mental edge on someone's great, and you get to see each other's teams in FIFA before the screen loads. And when they look at your team and they go, fuck, 85, 86, 89, 87, and then you're looking at their teams and it's 75, 73, 72, 81.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
83 max. Like, you know, you're in his head straight away. He's thinking, for fuck's sake, another one.
But it
But
costs you
if-
money to actually keep them. Like, once you've actually got those cards, you actually have to spend money to keep them, don't you? The
No.
contract thing, no?
No. So you like when you play, you earn a foot coin, and you can use your foot coin to buy contracts, or you can use that foot coin to buy packs. Takes forever to get it though. Like if you wanted to make like say 10 grand in FIFA without boosters from like the lowest division, you'd probably only get like 300 coins a game, and you got to think that's 12 minutes a game, and that's not including your half times and interruptions, throwouts, corners, free kicks, injuries, things like that, and then substitutions, extra time. Like you're really talking 20 minutes a game, and you may only start in the lowest division playing 10 games and only getting 300. Yes, after the 10 games and you move up a division, you kind of get a little boost, like an extra 1,000, 2,000, or maybe even 3,000 coins. But when you're talking, you want to buy Kevin De Bruyne, who's 250,000 gold coins minimum.
Yeah.
When you're getting 300 coins a game in every 10 games, if you do go up a division, you may get an additional 2,000-3,000, maximum like 10, until you start hitting like the division 3s, 2s, and 1s. It's definitely it's just mess. It is.
Just completely messed up. So that's
Yeah.
kind of obviously we're
It gets
not.
complicated. You know what I mean? It does.
Well, it gets scummy, is what you mean. Nothing complicated about it. So let's like kind of transition this into like Call of Duty and Warzone. Andrew, you mentioned that you prefer multiplayer. I actually prefer multiplayer as well, but Warzone gets views. So yeah, but guys, how do you feel about when you're going at the multiplayer game, a game that you've paid £60 for, or Hexy being the mug that he is, paying for the ultra super duper backflip hoop editions? How do you feel twice? How do you feel when you rock up in a multiplayer game and say, for example, the battle pass has just come out, brilliant, and someone's rocking a gun which they bought a blueprint for? You can either do the challenges for it, you can rank it up normally, but you can just buy it and bang, instantly shredding the lobbies. How do you guys respond to that? Like, what's your thoughts upon that?
Tier skips here, aren't you?
Or-
like in the past, the tiers, like skipping tiers.
Or
using
stuff
it
like brewing blueprints, stuff like that on Modern Warfare side. But yes, skips as well. Talk to me. Bit scummy? Go on.
Yeah, I think right. So the battle pass is there for a reason, right? It's to show an indication of your progression.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're skipping it, you're not progressing anything. Like, yes, it flashes moving forward, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, there's no inner win. There's no kind of. It's just like, it's moving.
I think like when Trojan was talking about before there, is that every game in its dog has battle passes, and we'll probably talk about this a lot more next week as well. But just to skim over, do you guys think that there's too many battle passes? Like, you jump on Warzone, battle pass. Okay, I want a little break from Warzone. Rocket League, oh look, battle pass. And then right, okay, I want to play something different. Apex Legends, bang, battle pass. Like, do you guys feel this PUBG? What do you guys think? There's too many battle passes? Do you think there's not enough? Do you think every game should have them? Like, where do we stand on that, boys?
I mean, the problem with it is, realistically, is at which point does it stop? Because I mean, even it's not a. Well, it pretty much it basically is. Even fucking Discord's got a battle pass. You can pay to boost your server. Do you know what I mean? Like, at which point, I mean, I can understand if it physically benefits the gamer, but some of these battle passes, it's like, oh, he has a little spray paint that you can put on the wall. It's like, how does that fucking benefit my gameplay at any point? It doesn't add anything meaningful. And if you're taking my cash and I'm funding your existence and your sort of creative vision for other people to enjoy, it should be something that actually benefits us, not some shite little trinket or a little, like a keyring for the side of me gun, or like a paint can or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's how I feel about it personally. Like, I feel like, I think this battle pass for Warzone was an exception. Maybe he's one of the earlier Apex ones. Is that there's just far too much shite which I'll never use in them. Like, the whole reason people want to use the battle pass is because ranks 97 or 100 has something really cool, like for example an all black rose skin, or some really unique blueprints. People only want to get it because of the thing that lasts 100, but the stuff that's between 0 and 100, there's like 3 or 4 good things in there typically that you think, oh hey, that's a good one, that's a good one, that's a good one. Season 3 of Cold War Warzone Battle Pass, that was an exception. Actually does has a few decent things in that one, but that the exception doesn't prove the rule. Most of them are full of crap, and there comes a point where you can either play all this time on all these games, or you can just skip the battle pass. Do you think, a bit like battle royales, do you think that battle passes are a gimmick that are going to die, or do you think that they're a feature that is here to stay in the gaming market? Deep question.
I think they'll be here to stay.
Yeah? Why is that?
Because it makes money. It's not like, what you've got to think now is, it's not what it was with the likes of like your Sega Mega Drives, your Nintendo 64s, but even your PlayStation 1s, your PlayStation 2s, your Xbox 360s. It is now literally all about you. What you are is a nice fat fucking wallet with legs. And what they're thinking about is, how do I get the contents of that out and into my bank account? That's all you are. You're like, it doesn't matter. Is this person enjoying it? Well, we'll find out if he's buying stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not about enjoyment anymore. It's a money making exercise.
Yeah, and what you find about battle passes as well is that they do have actually currency which you can go towards and buy the next one with, but they don't trust you to get that far, because that puts a little bit of coin in your account, and you think, oh, that operator pack is 1,000, and I just so happen to have 800. Oh, but the minimum thing I can spend is 500 for the 200 points I need. It's like I can spend £5 on like 400. But there's going to be a remainder. Like, it's manufactured that way, that no matter what you buy, you always buy more than you need. And if you want a finite amount, you don't have like a percentage of discount on that. Like, you can spend, say for example, not on any particular game, you can spend £9 on 1,000, or you could say pay £1 for 100. I mean, you'd never get that deal because that's too good. But the point is that 1,000 always is more, and things are always around 1,100, 1,200. There's never anything around 1,000 which you can just get with one payment. It's usually one payment and then the slack of a battle pass, or it's one payment plus maybe it's the slack of another thing. So I kind of feel as if the battle passes, there's far too many, and it kind of locks you into a game if you want that thing at the end, unless you buy it. So
I agree with you there. Like,
Yeah.
because things like Call of Duty and FIFA, you've always got like 50 coins, and it's kind of like, well, I've got 50 coins there. A pack, the pack's 700, and then you look and it's like, well, I can get 500, I can get 800, and I can get like, you kind of end up looking and you're looking, I've got 50 coins, and you're looking at the spectrum at point where you can go, by how many can I get until I get 0, and you don't end up spending £7 or £10. Your first one might have been £7 or £10 or £5, but after that it's just it repeats itself, because you've always got that coin. It's like, oh wait, it's this much, I can even it out, and it gets addictive and it's bad. Those are the worst type of like pay to win battle passes stuff. I hate.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
They're like
absolutely.
top-tippers.
So, for one of you that already know this question, but do you guys ever pay for battle pass skips?
Skips, no.
Children?
I mean, it depends. Like, I mean, for me, a lot of it. So I mean, the only one I haven't paid for skips in, like, for example, COD, because for me, I am shit whether I have that nice shiny gun or not. Someone else is going to fucking stuff me in a bin and set that bin on fire, whether I have a big fat shiny gun or whether I've got a pea shooter. Makes no difference. Rocket League, however, do I want that pretty car? Am I impatient? The answer to both of those is yes. Take me money.
Well, that's kind of
Rocket League.
that's where you get to, and if you had, say, if you were a gym and you were unemployed, then you would probably put those hours in to get that car anyway. Being impatient is a luxury, instead of a negative thing in terms of these game developers. Your impatience is what they are banking on. Your impatience is what's making them money. So in terms of that kind of balance of putting the time into the game or just paying for it, here comes another question which leads us nicely into our next topic. The work-game balance. Everyone talks about the work-life balance and the 9-5 and stuff like that, but let's be real, the 21st century, most people do have committed gaming careers, dare I say, where they want to put a little bit of time into YouTube. Obviously not as much time as, like someone like myself, or as much time streaming as, say, like you do when you're fully fit and well and stuff. But like, there is a game-work balance going on at the minute, especially in the likes of this pandemic. So life is about finding like that kind of balance. And do you think that kind of balance in life is important, or do you think that having a game work balance is kind of superficial, or do you think it's something that everyone should have and should kind of always find time to play games, even a few hours a week? Where do you guys stand on that particular topic of debate? Is it a thing? Is work game balance a thing? And if so, how do you get on with it?
I think it just refers more to game life balance more than anything. Because for someone who chooses to game compared to someone who chooses to go out, it's still just each other's life balance, and I think it is very important. If gaming's something that you want to do, you should always make time for it, no matter what.
This is in the context of both casually and like properly, because obviously you went out and actually said you are a gamer, which a lot of people don't want that title on themselves. So where do you find the importance is for that balance? Do you always make time for it? Do you feel as if people should make time for it? Like,
always,
where are you at?
Always. When I was doing if I was doing like a 12-hour shift or whatever, I'd still stay after. I used to go to the office, do a 12-hour shift, come home at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and probably still play games until around about 1 o'clock, even if it means I've got to sacrifice sleep.
Yeah,
so,
that's life.
Yeah, but at the same time, I didn't do anything else. I wasn't going to the bars. We couldn't go out and socialise. So it was the only thing where it was kind of keeping and holding me sanity together. Without it, I was just at home, sleeping, getting up, going to work, go back home, sleeping. Like, no one wants to live that life, and for those that do live that life, I'm like, sorry, but like, it's just not the way to go.
Swipe your credit card. So like, I see you nodding there, Trojan. Like, what's your feelings on is game work balance a thing? Because lots of people have a game life, say a work life balance, but life can be things like commitments, like seeing family and doing X, Y, Z. You know, so yeah,
fuck family. Gaming first. It depends on what you do gaming for. So I mean, for me, it's just something to not like. Just, a lot of the time, it's to wind down once I get back from work. Even if it's just like come home. Ah, right, Craig's streaming. Let's jump on there. Fucking ripping to bits for a bit.
Dick.
Yeah,
I mean, what else is that to do other than?
Do you find it as a way to blow off steam? Like kind of. Is there something you feel a bit tight?
Steam fans.
Well, there's the times where like you can kind of feel like a bit rather stressed, and you kind of use gaming as a coping mechanism. That's it.
It depends on the game and that, doesn't it? Because I mean, sometimes if you're a bit wound up, I mean, especially for me, I could come home. One of the main reasons why I won't play a COD is I'll come home, and if I go on Warzone, like for me, it's just. And not just Warzone, Battle Royale in general. You drop in, you find a gun, you make a lot of progress, you get killed, that's the game done. Start again. You drop in, you find a gun, you make a lot of progress, and for me, it's just monotonous as fuck. It's like, why? Like, I'd rather play something that's chilled. So even like Warframe, I can just vegetate, not really have to concentrate that much, and fucking wind down a bit. Whereas, like, if I've been at work all day and I feel like smashing someone's face in, coming home, getting a little bit of progress on a game, and then dying, I just feel like yeeting me keyboard through me monitor at max 6.
Max like 6. So, like, I kind of understand that, because when I was working at a car insurance firm last year, I found that was a very, very, very stressful job. And the last thing I wanted to do after a very 8 hours of pure, unadulterated, uncensored stress was to come home and play on unadulterated stress in 1.5 to 2 KD lobbies on Call of Duty. Not what I wanted. I'll play something else. Thank you very much. Yeah, things are different for me now because I don't have a job that stresses me out. I can handle my job, though it's hard. It doesn't stress me out like at all. Like it's well within my mental capacity, so to speak. So completely
you have one
get
of
that.
those.
Funny enough, yes, mate, I do.
You've been holding off for a while.
Oh, right.
What's got the mental? It's got the mental capacity of a PlayStation 2 memory card. Fucking 8 megabytes.
Excuse me, mate. I always got the big 24 beefy boys. But
what you do in your spare time's up to you.
For fuck's sake. You sent me off topic there, but I think the thing for me is that, you know, like I when I come in from work, I want to be able to unwind, and it's good to have a work-life balance, a game-life balance. Sorry, because you know it kind of does take your mind off of things. Because when you say work-life balance, there might be things in your life, probably all things in your life, which are getting you down as well, especially in a pandemic. So I think the game-life balance is massively important, because it's something that you're not thinking about that crap. Like, honestly, it's, you know, like, even when I'm sat there playing a game, you drop into Discord and you're rinsing me to bits, saying your dad's called Roy, your dad's called Keith. That's good crack. You know what I mean? Like, it's good, it's relaxing, it's a good vibe, it's a good energy. It's a good energy that you wouldn't necessarily get at work. It's a good energy that you might not necessarily get when you're out and about.
Especially the term that you're looking for is fuck-wittery.
Fuck-wittery.
That's what it is. It's like, I get home and it's just like, right, I'll do anything if it amuses me for 10 seconds. Like, literally, even going to the point of making a YouTube channel to leave a comment saying your dad's called Roy. That took us about 2 minutes. It gave us like 5 seconds of sort of laugh, but entirely worth it.
Entirely worth it. Well, there's a saying, breaking the seal, and I think the floodgates have opened now. I'm going to start getting ripped to bits 54 minutes in, so fantastic. But yeah, I do think that there's an importance, because even when you're making the YouTube video, like, a lot of the time I spend more time editing than I do actually getting the gameplay for the footage, and that kind of sucks. But you know, I think if you are a gamer, per se, be it a casual gamer, be it someone a bit more in the middle like Trojan, or people who kind of take it semi-seriously for either content or any other reason, they just want to be like the best of like their circle of friends, then there is important that you do have that balance, especially if it's part of your routine. Doesn't matter if it's on console, PC, although we would all prefer here if it was on PC. But I think that there is that argument there. But a lot of jobs that people are getting themselves into, especially in this era, is call center jobs. Now, we've all had them. I believe we're all in them. And a lot of people who I talk to who aren't students, in their mid-20s, 30s range, a lot of them are in contact centers, and this kind of section is dedicated to those people who are let's say younger than 21, not quite yet out of university, not quite knowing where they're going in life, which is totally fine. I only just figured that out like last year, and I'm 27 in the end of this month. So yeah, contact center work, boys. What do we think of it? I'm gonna start this section off with Trojan. Crack right on.
It's where dreams go to die. If you're considering it, your life choices are going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
I mean, on a serious note, if you've got a particular like mental proclivity, then I would say a lot of mental strength. Then yes. If you get stressed a lot, if you don't like people, definitely don't do it, because it just makes you want to burst into flames. Because I think one of the things that a lot of people don't go into, more so for people who are working, is people who are in retail. They'll be like, you'll not believe what I had to deal with today, and it's like, it'll pale in comparison to what I've had to deal with. Like some of the stuff that I've been told to do to relatives and stuff like that by people ringing up over the phone, like they wouldn't dare say it to your face.
So obviously, I'm not going to ask like what companies we all work for, because I think that's a bit shan. But have you got any examples where like someone has purely made you feel what the F, be it a colleague, a manager, a customer, a cuntomer? Both of you.
You muted yourself, I think. Do you want
I'm not allowed to talk about mine, to be fair.
Wait.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that sucks. So yeah, you get a lot of people who, like, say for example in tech support. I think tech support's quite a rough one, where if something doesn't work, that's your fault. Even if they've dropped said device, it's cracked to a million bits, that's your fault. And getting called worse than shit is, it is quite draining. But I think the thing is with contact center work is that you go in there thinking you're only going to be there 2 or 3 months, but most of them do put you on full-time contracts, and you think, all right, cool, that's fine. I can deal with that for 3 or 4 months just to get my feet before I do the next thing, And then all of a sudden, as Andrew kind of puts it, it's where dreams go to die, because now you might have the money to do it, you've lost your passion to do your dream, or you've lost the motivation to do your dream, or there's other things that kind of help like knock that on its path. And Andrew makes a good point there by saying that you've got to have a strong mental fortitude to go there, and if you're of the persuasion of where you may be inclined for mental illness, be it anxiety, depression, anything like that, a call center is the worst place you can be, because even if you don't have any of those things going into it, it is more than likely you will leave a call center with those things, and it's quite shan. Now, I can't say that about the current place I'm working at. I love it. I think it's absolutely great. I've got a really good deal there, but he's quite right. It's where dreams go to die, and it's kind of problematic in that regard, because they entice you in with all this money and the full-time work, and you think, oh great, it's working in an office, that's going to be mint office crack. Now the colleagues are class, managers in these contact centers, again, not where I am at now, but in the past, they're not managers. Like, I've been to a few contact centers where managers are like 18-year-olds who have got a degree in drama. Like, why? How are you a manager? Like, how have you pulled that off? And then people who are sat there, they've been working in the contact center for 40 years, 30 years in some cases, they're still on the phones. It's not a good environment to be in, and it's a toxic environment. And I can see something's on the tip of Trojan's mouth there, so I'm gonna let you crack on with that one.
I was just going to quickly chime in with like someone who's, because it's easy to get a job in a contact center.
Oh yeah, very.
Once you've worked in one, like you could work in any. But like you'll have people who are like studying for their masters, or like some other form of degree. Prime example: someone would studying for their masters, and they'll be getting barked orders of someone who's got a B.Tech in hair and beauty. It's like, no, no thanks.
Yeah, no, exactly that. So I think the consensus is that like you do
I think there's one thing. Oh, sorry, I didn't.
Go for it. Go for it.
I think there's one thing that you've also got to consider with working in a call center as well, is that you've got to be able to receive a lot of negativity, because no one's ringing to say, hello, how are you doing? Are you having a nice day? Someone only ever rings if there's a problem. So that's the kind of aspect you've got to kind of look at call centers. If you're looking to go there, you've got to remember that 90% of your calls that are coming in, the customer's not going to be happy. You're not going to be on best of terms with them. And anything that's happened before you've been in contact with that customer is your personal fault anyway.
Yeah, and there's a lot of. I remember one particular contact center I worked for. Like I had to psych myself up every morning, like big time. I had to make sure I had at least 8 hours sleep. I had to make sure that when I got up in the morning, I psyched myself up for the day ahead, because it does take a lot of energy out of you, and that's probably why it leads to a lot of anxiety and depression problems in people.
Was it the big old C one? Starts with the big old C.
Big old, yeah. That was that one.
That place, mate. That done me in that place.
You reckon?
Yeah. I walked out of that place, mate. I hid my badge at the manager.
Yeah, that bad. Wait.
Yeah, like I was so it was for a phone company that we were doing it for. It was like a third party, and I was something called an SME, which is a subject matter expert. And it was our jobs to kind of go around the backgrounds of things like phone tariffs and stuff, where sales people have made mistakes, and we would correct the tariffs, make sure the right prices. If technical issues occur, we kind of fix it. Or if there's billing issues, we would fix it. Or if it was above a certain credit. And then what kind of happened is that, in what you said, the managers weren't managers. They were just people who were just kind of watching over a team. They always refused manager escalations and stuff, so they were kind of to reduce the amount of thing like ombudsman cases. It was then our job as SMEs to start doing the manager's work with no extra pay. And at one point I was on a manager escalation for like 4.5 hours, missed me break, bursting for the toilet, and I'd got off this call and I was like, look, I'm gonna go to the toilet and I'll come back, finish the account off. And someone was like standing behind us, and they were like, oh, I've got a manager escalation. I says, look, I'm gonna be like 10 minutes, I need to go to the toilet, I need to have me break, I'll have a quick cigarette, I'll come up. That person went and squealed to the manager, not the manager, like the head of the floor. And that person pulled us in a room and says, look, we understand your job's stressful and stuff, but like, you need to know that sometimes you may be required to put your breaks and stuff aside, maybe hold on to the toilet a bit longer.
Bitch, I just did.
Like, I've been on the phone for 4.5 hours arguing with the customer. That was absolutely not even anyone to do with this call center. Like, I've been fixing stuff for ages. I'm allowed to go to the toilet. And she was like, oh, well, you will maybe considering your position on the floor. I say, as if that's the case, took my badge off, hide it, just hit them in the chest. And I was like, you can keep that, I'm off. And then I went off to my current job, and they took us in nice and happily.
Yeah, I remember someone had purely lost their rag. It was for a popular brand, and they had a laptop, and the kid had literally was that sick of everyone's shite all day, every day. Managers, customers, other colleagues, because the work center environments, they're very bitchy environments typically, and a lot of bitching and rumours going around. Even with the quiet people who keep out of other people's business, like I did when I was there, like rumours go around about them which aren't even true. Like, I'm apparently a transsexual, lol. But that kind of stuff would go around, like about anyone, and it was just absolute rage. And one person was just so sick of it. He was about 20 minutes into a call, like diagnosing this computer, and he was like, "Right, sir, I need you to close the computer, and I need you to put it back in its box. I need you to send it back. You don't have a fucking clue what you're doing." Put the phone down, walked off, never came back. I was like, class, mate. Absolute class. But they do break you though, don't they? Like,
The break will make you. 100%.
I don't think there's an argument for the make you, because one contact center I did get that promotion to manager, and you sat there like, I'm getting paid an extra 30 pence for this, really? And then
No, I mean, like, it makes or breaks your mentality.
oh
like,
yeah, yeah, well,
mentality-wise.
yeah.
So you either become very immune to a lot of negativity and stuff like that. You kind of become emotionless.
But then
I
that
guess.
makes you. I was going to say you just hit the nail on the head, because then that makes you emotionless, and that makes you disinterested and unemotional, and a bit of a social retard, if you don't mind my saying. Like, if you do kind of get used to it, it would explain a lot about Trojan. But
Oh.
No, it's just I'm just numb from having to deal with your fucking shit crack.
but like there is an argument we had there, because it does actually wear out on people quite a lot. So I think if you're in that age bracket and you see these postings come up, don't. People complain about retail, but they only complain about retail at Christmas. Like, people who work in contact centers complain about them all freaking year.
And even then, the contact centre's still worse at Christmas.
Yeah, they still work Christmas.
So you have someone on the phone that's like, so I'll put my daughter on the phone, and you can tell them why that Christmas present isn't going to be here for Christmas. And it's like, listen, Doreen, all that will be happening is if you put me on the phone to your child, I will be telling your child that their Christmas present is going to be late because you rang up on Christmas Eve to order them a Christmas present because you didn't love them enough to ring 3 weeks ago. Fuck off.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. Then you get people who ring in on bank holidays and Christmas days. Like, yeah, I can't believe you're in on these days. Aye, because you people like you are fucking calling on these days. Like, even people in retail get Christmas off. Fuck off. Like, I've worked in retail, again in management, and what I will say though, from a colleague, like from like people who, you know, aren't managers, I found it easier managing in a call center than it was in a store, because in a contact center, you've got, well, I had teams some weeks of up to 40 people, which was a bit mental. But if someone, like, say, for example, does something which is an obvious sackable offense, you can be like, right, okay, get fucked. Whereas in a store, it's a lot harder because there's not that many people. And then if you get rid of someone, you're sat there where, like, it's going to make everyone's jobs harder, because everyone's got to do more physical work. Everyone's got to do more hours to make up for that person that's gone. And it is just general, like, bad crack. I mean, fair enough, one person did end up getting sacked in the retail because they were never there anyway, so what's there to lose? But I think
to get proof in retail as well. Like,
pardon?
with a calls, it's harder to get proof in retail.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sackable offences, like with a call centre, if you fart in the wrong direction, there's someone somewhere that knows which direction that fart went and roughly what it smelled like, and can probably gauge what you had for breakfast. Whereas, like, unless you dance about the shop shouting and screaming, I've done this, a lot of the time it'll not get noticed.
Yeah, no, you're quite right. You're quite right on that regard. I think another one from the contact center point of view as well is that every second of your time is meticulously monitored. Now, again, and recorded. Now, again, I'm at a place now where that's not happening. I actually do really love where I'm at now. But in the past, like, well, every single second is recorded. You want to go for a shit? That's recorded. You want to have a little bit of time after a call to make sure your notes are right? That's recorded. You even have a bit crack with a customer? That's recorded. You've went 10 seconds over your call. Can't be doing that. But then they give you another stat which contradicts that. So you can either rush someone on the phone and hit your KPI, which may be your handle time. But then, because you're rushing it, people aren't going to give you a positive survey, customer satisfaction. Oh, he rushed it, he didn't want us on the phone. That's because he's got that survey. She's got that survey. And there's a balance, because you can have really good customer satisfaction scores at the expense of your handle time, and you can have it the other way around. And guess what? Failing to have both will get you heat from your manager no matter what. Well done, you've got 100% customer satisfaction, but we're not going to give you your bonus because you were 1 second over your handle time. Tut tut, unacceptable. Be better. So yeah, you get enticed with these bonuses and stuff, and you think, yeah, they're easy enough to hit, but you realize quite quickly that they are in contradiction of each other. So
And then you've got systems, slow down time, breaking time, and all that stuff that comes into consideration. If you get system downtime, you've got to put a customer on hold, extends your overall average that your actual mark's done on, because your mark's not done per call, although they still mark it on per call. But your overall stats depend bonuses at the end of the month is an overall collection of all your calls.
and your bonuses are usually like a month and a half in lieu as well.
Yeah,
A month and a
so-
half for them to find an excuse not to give you it, which is always quite fun. So yeah, I just, again, the exception with where I'm at now doesn't prove the rule. Really good place I'm at now, but it is dire crack really, and like you've said it yourself, Trojan, the sooner you get out of there the better. Obviously Hexy, you went under a really big change at your place, kind of caught you off guard a bit, along amongst other things going on. All these things, you know, it's bad crack. Don't do it. Go work at retail. Complain about your Christmas in December and get on with your life. And
It's not a cactus.
I'm not working in
Better.
retail. No. I've done that. I've done that service. I've done retail. It's not happening.
yeah, retail does have problems of its own, to be fair.
Worked
Again,
in a petrol station, worked in a store, worked in bars. Nah.
one of my favourite
Bars
things
were
was
bad.
actually working in bars. I didn't mind working in bars.
Bars were good. Bars were good. I loved working in bars actually.
It's just
It
with
was
bars,
great.
it's sporadic hours though, isn't it? Like you don't
Yeah,
get
but
like
it's very casual. It's
Yeah.
very casual. Like basically it's kind of like hosting a party at your own house. People
well,
are just like, oh, I need a drink, and you're like, oh, I'll get you one.
hosting a party in someone else's house. Yeah.
Yeah, but and all you do is you just have a conversation. All right, that'll be such and such. Enjoy the rest of your night. Yeah, and it's easy. Like, do you not feel
Love you,
like
bye.
sometimes in customer service when you're in a contact center or retail, just saying bye can be awkward. Like you're like bye, and they're like bye, and you're like right, hang up. I'm not allowed to hang up on you.
Well, I think this is going to kind of
No,
contrast.
what you do in that situation is there's a little button on your headset, and you just sort of press it. And that mutes you, and then what you do is just
yeah.
you just sit there and don't say a fucking word, and
And just
enjoy
look.
that silence.
Yeah. So obviously Hex goes,
You're like a fly on the wall in their house for a bit. You just listen to what's going on. You hear all the streets commotion. You're just a fly on the wall for a bit.
that is one of the benefits of mine. But call centers do pay well, typically because they can guarantee the hours, which is the enticing bit. So it is actually bad crack. However, we briefly mentioned there bar crack. Now I know someone who didn't exactly have a good experience in bar crack. My girlfriend be one of them. Again, that kind of arguably drove her to a negative mental health route. And Trojan, you used to work in one as well. You used to work for not popular, it's not a hotel chain. You used to work for a hotel, did you not?
Yeah, well, it was food and beverage. So I was more food than I was beverage, which was great because I could potter about the hotel and skive, hide in places and not do work. It was splendid. Bar problem was a lot of the stuff that I dealt with function wise was like be weddings, student proms, and a lot of the time because of the establishment that it was, a lot of the people that I had to deal with, they were a bit like human donuts. Like the head was just up their own arse. Like unreasonable expectations. Oh, yes, I would like this in a Diamante glass, please. Get fucked. Hope you choke on the ice. Bye.
So
I love the way he puts things.
I love it too. But I think the fact of the matter is though, is when you actually do get yourself in these jobs, they push you in towards playing games, and sometimes they can have an effect on your mental health where you don't want to play the games, and it is bad crack. And it does, if you want to run a channel, like say for example you want to be a streamer, you want to be a YouTuber, you want to do all this, you will learn very quickly, if you haven't done so already, that you will be putting in combined about 80 hours a week, which is draining on anyone. Sometimes even more. You'll be putting in your 40 hours at your work, you'll be putting in another 40 hours at least into your passion, and you'll find yourself without much time, and you'll find yourself very drained very quickly. So it's important to get yourself, if you're going to do that, make sure you get a job which isn't taxing on you mentally. If it's taxing on you mentally, it's going to harm you quite good. Like, you can see it on this channel. Like, those who know me know what jobs I've had and how often uploads have been out, and you can tell straight away how relaxed I am in said job, because the uploads will come out, the streams will come out, and all that stuff. Whereas if you're not seeing much of me at all, with the exception of us moving out, if you don't see much of us at all, that's because I haven't got the energy to. And I think that's the same in other YouTubers who aren't making money. I think that's the same with these streamers that aren't making money off their projects. The more stress they're under at work, the less likely it's going to happen. And that is something that you guys need to understand if anyone's wanting to be a streamer, YouTuber, or work towards their goals. When you work towards your goals at 40, like I was going to say at 40 frames a second there, when you work towards your goals at 40 hours a week, 35 hours a week, that doesn't actually leave you much time left to work on what you want to be. Because you will come back from work tired, you will come back from work annoyed, you will come back from work feeling drained, in anxiety and stress and dread for the next day, the coming morning. You don't need that when you're trying to progress yourself and make yourself a better person, straight up. So if you're wanting to do anything, doesn't even matter if it's content creation, if you want to go learn something, you want to go do something, you need to have a job that's not mentally taxing. Otherwise you're really putting yourself up shit creek per se. Now we are going to be moving on to a bit more of a more positive subject. We're going to be moving into news, announcements, and rumours. So mainly Battlefield, but we do have a few things to bring up as well. So before we get in the Battlefield, we will quickly mention that on the channel, streams have returned, which is brilliant because we don't cohabitate in a room, and there's no massive heat, so it's all good, which means I can stream as much as I like without being a dick to other people in the household, as long as it's not past a certain time. And we also have new channel artwork, which is going to be coming out in the coming weeks. I am working on somebody with that. I'm in discussions. We're going to have a new channel banner, and we're going to have a new podcast theme per se. Really exciting stuff. Can't wait to get onto it. Is going to cost a small bomb, but you know, invest in yourself. Swipe that credit card, Derek. But Hexy, pay to win, man. Pay to win. Hexy, bring us on to our topic, COD Killer.
Oh yeah, so Battlefield 2042. It's coming out this October.
October. That was a shock because we were expecting it to be like early next year. So the fact it's coming out in October.
Yeah. There's a few pros and cons. A little bit unhappy with. It's not that I'm unhappy with it. There's just been no announcements of, which I was a bit worried
It's only
about.
a teaser though, to be fair.
Yeah, but there was. I'll get the negatives out the way first. So like things like there was no anti-cheat. That's been negative. I'm going to be totally honest with you. Everything else looks freaking amazing. Them Robo Dog things. Did you see those bad boys go?
I did.
Like I'm not a fan of like dogs and stuff in Call of Duty and stuff like that, but that shit looks amazing.
Well, the first thing I thought when looking at it was, is this COD? Like, for like a few seconds there.
Maps are too big to be COD.
Yeah.
The detail, you've got to admit the details that they've shown within the gameplays and the cinematics and stuff that DICE and stuff have provided are outstanding. They are next level. There's no battle royale.
Excellent.
Come on, go ahead. Let's build on that point a little bit more. We'll come back to what you're saying in a second, Hexy. But what do you guys think of the announcement that there is no battle royale?
I think it's very, very refreshing. Every time a new game comes out, people are like, well, where's the battle royale? Where's the battle royale? And it's like, hopefully the battle royale in general overall is going to die very, very soon. Hopefully no more games of that genre in general come out, and that'll be a splendid time.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think it's going to be a good thing, but you got to remember Battlefield's one of those ones where it's a big map anyway, and then what they've went and done is they've always had the largest maps when it comes to multiplayer gameplay. They've went and extended that as well. those that are on console are going to get around about 64 players per game. PCs and high-end consoles such as the new Xbox and PS will be experiencing anywhere up to 128 players per game. So it's like double the amount.
So
and it's going to be huge.
We said this, I think, on podcast 1 or podcast 2, where the game doesn't need Battle Royale because the people are playing the Battle Royale map because it's a big map, which Battlefield doesn't need to do. It didn't need to bring out the Firestorm map. So, yeah, I do really feel as if... Is it the COD killer, though, Hexy? That's the question.
I think it's... There's going to be people that aren't going to agree, because you've got to remember, Battlefield, it's not like playing Call of Duty. It doesn't have an arcade feel. For those that have played things like Tarkov or something, it's more along those lines, but still first person. I mean, Tarkov's first person anyway, but it's quite hard to explain it. It's because it's not like Call of Duty. It's everything Call of Duty is not. Pretty much that. Yes, that you still want in the game. So whatever's missing out with Call of Duty, you're definitely going to find out with Battlefield. If you want that realistic feel, you like using a sniper rifle, the classes are going to be amazing this year. You're not stuck to primary weapons. You can still run it as whatever weapon, but primary you want. You do get like each specialist has like a gadget that represents their character, but as from a player perspective, when you want to say be a recon and you don't get the opportunity to be recon because you're only allowed so many recons per game, it still gives you an opportunity to run a sniper rifle. And be an assault class or be an engineer, and you don't have to be an engineer and run a prior Battlefields. Now you can do and run it with like ARs. There's no primary set classes, which I think is brilliant for customizable aspects of Battlefield. It's just kind of where they've never went. They've always kind of been like guns fixed to characters. Like some of the guns transitioned over, but you always had that primary gun.
Yeah, which I think is going to be a really good thing for the game in general. But Trojan, do you think it's going to be a COD killer?
My opinions with Battlefield are very mixed, anyways.
Go on.
I don't tend to enjoy it as much as COD because I think it's two very, very different game types. It's like someone saying like saying that Battlefield's going to be like a COD killer is like saying that Scavengers is going to be a Warzone killer. They are the two sides of the same coin. Like Warzone and stuff like that's very, very arcadey, and Battlefield's a lot more realistic. Like one of the main thing is like with Battlefield specifically, you just die from fucking nowhere because the map's that big. There's a lot more dynamic. You can play in a lot more variation in how you go about it. Whereas COD is just run here, shoot this, have a cup of tea, off you fuck. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's very, very different gameplay.
So do you reckon then, I'll push this question out to both of you, do you reckon that the gameplay itself, that this is going to create a vacuum of maybe multiplayer traditional COD making a return? Because it has took a backseat lately. Do you think that might bring it back?
You tend to find with like COD and Battlefield, one will come out and the other one copies. In some aspect, they'll try and replicate. It's a prime example. Battlefield comes out, big maps. COD tries to do ground war.
Yeah.
Prime example.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So Warzone comes out, very big maps. What does Battlefield do? Makes their big maps even bigger. So
and brings out a Battle Royale.
Well, they're not bringing out a Battle Royale, are they?
They did for the latest Battlefield game, Firestorm. That was called Firestorm? Yeah.
So, shows you how much I pay attention. I had no fucking idea.
Indeed.
But it's just another thing that I'd ignore. Should be get in the bin royale.
Like you dabbled a little bit. day. You kind of only go on to spend time with people. It's more of a social meeting for you than an actual game.
More of a piss about, whereas you are like fucking calling out tactical call outs and that, and he's over there 300 meters by that tree, there's a cat to his right, have you seen him? Yes, shoot, he's at this precise grid reference. Now I'm just like, aye mate, I'm just gonna get in this truck and go for a nice fucking Sunday drive. Beep, beep.
Fair enough. Well, I've got a few friends who, yes, I have friends.
We haven't. Fuck off.
Well, I've got a couple of friends who don't enjoy the first-person shooter typically, but do actually really enjoy Battlefield games because there's a lot more to do. If you want to go and suicide bomb a plane into people, you can, the same way I do with helicopters in Warzone. And they do actually typically tend to really enjoy the gameplay. So maybe in terms of that dirty casual market, which Warzone competes for, which all the games compete for really, if Battlefield gets a hold of that casual market, you'll start seeing the content creators wanting to capture that casual audience, and then you're going to start seeing a lot more people just playing that game. It could go one of two ways, but I think at the end of the day, competition for Warzone is always a good thing. And it's going to be on Steam, which is going to be delightful. So can't wait for that and a launch that actually works. But my biggest concern with Battlefield is the fact that the past 2 or 3, maybe it's even 4 Battlefields that have popped out have launched with issues. Have launched with day one issues, which crashed the game, bugged the game out, break the game, you name it, it's got it. So if it can avoid that this game, I think it does have a chance. But can it? Will it again? Yeah. Will it? This is the
problem. Had that niche, didn't it, where it had that massive build up. Everyone was excited, and it was like, boom, servers down, too populated, and then there was something happening where only half the servers were available, and then they had to do a massive update to get everything fixed, and like you gotta like download an additional however many gigabytes. I'm really hoping they don't deliver that this year. I'm hoping, because the expectations of when Battlefield was going to come out is now earlier than what anyone's expected.
Well, it's going to be coming out pretty much when COD does, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm hoping they kind of have a smooth release and they've got it ready, because Battlefield tends to put the average player off by its release or previous release experience, because they do have a bit of a knack for fucking things up. To be honest, at the beginning.
It's most games nowadays, though.
It is.
They've got your money at that point. Like, look at Outriders. I pre-ordered Outriders, and like honestly, it feels like rather than having servers, they basically had a USB cable plugged into a fucking pepperoni pizza. It's like, what are your game servers? Like, I paid 50 or 60 quid for a game, and I can't even fucking log in to play. It's like,
buy the game now, and we'll finish it later.
Like, you think, what are they doing? And it's like a segue, and like in Family Guy, they cut away. There's like, you've just got the developers from Outriders and a fucking hot air balloon just throwing your money, pissing your money into the wind, and you're just like, "I so mate, I didn't want to play a game anyway."
He brings up a valid point, mind. He does bring up a valid point in that regard. So, it's.
Could you imagine if it was something else though? Could you imagine if you bought a car? Oh, sorry, we haven't released the day one. We haven't released the day one patch, mate. It's a fucking car. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're marketing a product and that product doesn't work.
Imagine if you bought the car. Yeah, but the car key's additional DLC, mate.
You buy a car for 20 grand. That's additional 10 for the key.
You want seats, right? You want tyres.
35 grand on a car, and it's like, yeah, mate, the keys are level 3 on the battle pass.
Oh, hey, could you imagine? Like, if everything else did what the gaming industry did, like, what a world we'd live in, and it wouldn't be for the positive either. Like, you want a bottle of water? Well, it'll be an extra £25 for it to be, like, not contained from piss. Like, yeah. £25 for the bottle.
And when you give her that £25, you'll have a 0.86% chance of that bottle dropping.
The thing I find funny though, right, is that gaming at one point was kind of frowned upon. It was kind of something that you were a loser if you done it. You had nothing better to do with your life. Do you know how much multi-millions they make now out of gaming?
Yeah, and they still kind of talk it down though, don't they? Like, oh, this is Ninja. He's no one. He's just a streamer. He's like, yeah, I make like 30 million a year. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, it doesn't care what anyone thinks.
You know what I mean?
The biggest one for me is like when. So I mean, I might strike a nerve here because you use both like football and I kind of fucking stand it. But like when someone who watches the football, they'll shout and scream on at the telly. But if you lose your temper with a game, they'll go, "It's only a game," and it's like, yeah, but I have physical input as to what's going on here and what happens, and it has direct repercussions to me.
And my team are shite.
Whereas you shouting at the ref, fucking Baldy Baz, who's refereeing the game, isn't going to hear a fucking word of what you're saying. Get in the bin.
A waste of energy is what you're trying to say. A waste of energy.
Talking bollocks, I think is the correct word.
Well, you're kind of starting to see that now with TV, though, aren't you? Like, for example, let's take Sky Sports, for example. So say if you want to watch your boring-ass golf, Trojan, and you want to crack on...
I don't watch golf. I play it. There's a difference.
say you want to watch... You spend £30 or £40 a month for your Sky Sports subscription, let's just say. You get the football and all these other sports. And then they come at you with, oh, but do you want to watch this fight for £20 for 4 hours of coverage? Well, no, I'm already paying for the sports package. And then you're already paying for the sports package. Right, we'll be right back after this advert. Like, I pay you. Like, what? Why? Like, the whole industry's... The whole industry's going... Yeah, well, he's right. That is the crack. The whole media industry, gaming, films, TV, it's all going that way. You buy this service and then pay extra. Give us more money. We subscribe to you. Like, when you consider how many things, because obviously TV is kind of dying. You've also got your Sky Sports subscription now. You will then have your Netflix. Then you've got your Amazon Prime. Then you've got your Hulu. Then you've got your Disney Plus, which is important if you want to watch any Marvel thing these days. And then all the other stuff. It adds up quickly. Buy our service, but pay extra for the HD. Pay extra for this. Like, what?
Netflix and chill. Amazon Prime and sexy time. Just gusset and shows you gusset.
But
all that.
It is just the way the whole entertainment industry is going, though. Pay this set price, but that set price isn't the price to actually have your entertainment, to consume your entertainment. That price is now an entry fee, like the gym. Like, it's a bit, I mean, I know that, especially yourselves, don't go to a gym, but it's an entry fee on top of your normal subscription. Fuck it.
I mean, my fingers work out kind of often.
Why?
Look at the gains.
You get your own girlfriend to do your own smoke, man. If anything, she's got the fingers. So, yeah, that's just kind of the way the entertainment industry is going, and it can only get worse. Like, what I want is just kind of like the good old days to showing. I can't believe I'm 27 and I'm saying I'm showing my age, but like, you buy a game and that's the game. You pay for telly, that's your telly. You don't have a million things to subscribe to, all with individual transactions. Because like with Amazon, like for a prime example, is that you can look of disgust on your face there. So a prime example is that you have your Amazon, which you pay for. You've got your Amazon movies and all that stuff, and you think, oh, champion, I'm going to watch this. Oh no, that'll be a £3 rental fee, mate. What? Excuse me?
Like, fucking excuse me, bitch.
You've got to remember that the Prime service that you get is actually generally directed to the next day delivery and free delivery costs.
Bitch, don't advertise that service if you're not giving me that service.
I know, but like when you purchase that, the Prime Video is actually just an additional thing. It's not actually in their terms and conditions that they have to provide.
Can I just point out that I'm not even including the likes of Spotify and stuff like that in this debate as well. Like, you've got money, we are just walking wallets, as Andrew said before. We're just walking wallets, which is kind of shan. But it is fact. But I want to just be able to
You're
have.
fucking empty.
And you're fucking empty, especially with that Secret Labs chair. But when does it change? Like, is it going to change? It's all about consumerism now.
It is
money.
going to change for the worse.
Yeah. Okay. Where do you think it's going to go?
Down a slippery slope to Shit's Creek, and you'll have to pay for the paddlers DLC. Get yourself out. That's it. That's where it's gone.
Fair enough. It is a bit. It is just a bit shan though, isn't it? Like, you know what? But even with your packages though, with like your TV and your media and stuff. Oh, you ain't got no package. Don't give me that shit. But like, when you get
you need to get down off your booster chair, get off your high horse.
When you yellow pages out soon much.
No.
Nicole's shorter than us. I don't need a booster seat. It's all good.
I not seen the lights in the background. The red light means that his dad's took the step ladder to work. So
no, the
green light was on. Oh no! Oh right, wait, you need to change. You need to change the light to green. What a cruel bastard! Someone's let you get up on that chair and then move that step ladder all the way over there. How are you going to get down?
Hey. But when does it stop, man? When does Oh, hey. You're killing me off here, man. Well, that's just the way the industry's going, in it. But you get line rental when you want to get your phone package in with your phone. You want your internet, pay for it. So you want your TV. Sometimes not these days as much, but pay for a satellite dish. Like it's just money, and everything. Things that you get the full packages for, it does now feel like it's an entry fee. So it is kind of shan. But shall we move on, boys?
Yes.
We shall move on to PC talk. So, as we mentioned before, most of this is going to be a different language to Trojan, like anything intellectual is. So we have...
Shut up, man. Intellectual. Technical is the word you're looking for. When it comes to intellect, I mean, I've got like a fucking £100 note and you've got a 5p piece.
I mean, you may have wit. You have wit, but it's compensating for something in it. So Ginger Fox has got himself a new GPU. I was waiting to get for a comeback there, but it's not to come.
Splashy one like that as well, isn't it?
He's got himself a RTX 3060. How on earth he managed to find one of them, I don't know. Like the one person who I don't know how to word it. The one person who's like quite casual in his approach to gaming just so happens to find a 3060, whereas we're like sat there like looking all over the shop for like a graphics card at half a decent value, and he's sending me messages.
Did he give you a value how much you paid for it? Is it a discussion allowed to have?
Not on podcast, I'd say, but I would say it was around 20% more than MSRP. When you're considering that stuff's about 80-90% more than MSRP at the minute, I think he got himself a very good deal.
To get a hold of. Never mind, even if you do have the 80% extra money to pay for the current price, and then it's actually finding one.
Well, yeah, exactly. So
like to get it at like say like a small increase of 20% when they're already hen's teeth non-existent, barely anyone has one anyway, is an achievement all in itself, really.
So they announced the 3080 Ti and all that sort of stuff, and it's like, hey, look at this is a very good thing, it's going to be in stock, and they announced them stupid fucking cryptocurrency mining pieces of shit, and they're like, that means that these ones are just going to be for gamers and scalpers aren't going to get them, and blah 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 blah. And then come launch day, what happened? Exactly what everyone knew was going to happen. All of the 3080 Ti's disappeared like a fucking fart in the wind.
Yeah, and it turns out that this extra scalper-proof thing turned out to be just a driver, which was easily manipulated. So, yeah, fun. But, yeah, point is, we're sat there, like, running around like headless chickens, trying to run around, try and find these cards. Me and Joe trying to look for a 3060. I know you're looking for a decent card either for yourself or for your girlfriend. Obviously, that's at Hexy.
Actually, topping on that, do you know how you say earlier that you... Like,
your mic keeps dropping out. You what, sorry? Yeah, don't fuck about it with it now, but...
I was just going to disconnect. I was just going to say, topping off what you were saying earlier with Andrew running into a shop for a case and walked out with a full PC.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of happened the same way when I went in for an Ethernet cable and walked out with Charlie's PC.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. Like, Craig, you're gonna come build it, and I came there and it was like, right, you're getting a cup of tea made. Here's some cans. Here's all the tools. Crack on. Like,
Yeah.
neat baba. But yeah, he's got himself one of them, and he sent me just like a random Snapchat out of the blue. Oh, is this a good deal? It's like, yes, if you actually buy it. All right, cool, bought. What? Come again? So yeah, got himself that.
Probably did when he's seen the price.
Ruin Fox, they just come out of the blue out of nowhere with such random stuff.
Yeah, like Rue and Ginger Fox, they just do that. They show barely any interest in it. And oh, by the way, I'm just dropping this on that. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
500 plus just because.
I find it funny.
I'm gonna tell you why. I just want it because it's got these lights on.
Yeah, I'm skint, mate. I'm skint, mate. I'm skint, mate. Oh, I'm just buying this in cash. You do
Good on
you.
you,
Good on you, mate. Good on you. But on a serious note, though, that means I do get the GTX 1650 back, which can go on in the spare machine, which will be going on the telly for like guests, you know, when people want to play FIFA, Rocket League, blah blah blah, you know, stuff that can run on a toaster. So that's really exciting. So all I need now is the case and the power supply, and it's good to go. So the case, I have decided what I'm going to get. Looking at the space I've got underneath the desk, I have got a lot more than I thought I would have, so I'm going to get the smaller version of the case I've already got. And
Because your legs aren't taking up as much room under the desk.
hardy ha.
So are you not doing the ITX build anymore?
I'm just gonna go for mini. So like to set the size
For a
down.
mini board and
Yeah.
just for a doing is going to be processing the streams as well.
No. I'm not gonna be faffing
No,
about
you're not
that.
gonna
Temperatures,
explode
that wouldn't help with temperature situation. So I'm actually gonna have the outlet being inlet, and the inlet being outlet, so it's not conflicting with the air that's going into the main machine. So yeah, that's gonna be quite good. I've already bought the TV this week, so soon should have that thing fully set up. I mean, I could technically do it on my next couple of pays, but I do just want to pay a few other things off and just kind of get myself, you know, financially spotless before I do any of that. Now, Trojan, you have obviously not long been investing in some new stuff to kind of improve your quality of life on your computer a fair bit. One of which was a gaming chair, which you're trying to get hold of. Explain, because you're not actually going for a conventional gaming chair that me and Hexy have. You're going for something a bit more, what I think's clever. So do explain that.
So rather than looking at a gaming chair, because I mean, if you go back to the main screen where it's not just me, for a brief example, so your chair is just that chair with a different jacket. That's exactly what that is. They're all made in the same place. They put a different skin on it. Any gaming chair. I mean, yours will have a bit more.
I can assure you that
yours will have a bit more bells and whistles on it. Yours will have a bit more bells and whistles on it, but for the most part, most gaming chairs are exactly the same. Most, not all, but most. So I looked at like an office chair rather, and with like all mesh, so it's a bit more breathable. So it's not like the arse is getting fried on a fucking leather seat.
You'd love your ass getting fried. I don't know what you're talking about. What's your thinking behind that though? Like, what? Obviously, it can't just be because you don't want your arse to get fried. Like, I'm sure Hexy wouldn't ever complain about his arse being fried on his seat. So
the type of leather this is, it doesn't heat up.
So like, what's kind of
like mine's not like a shiny one.
What's the jazz with that? Because there's got to be more to it than just the sake of arse sweat, surely.
Well, more breathable. The ergonomics of the chair itself. So it's designed for good posture, whereas a lot of Hexington, a lot of gaming chairs are designed. They're designed to look like you're going to go fast as fuck, and it's like, mate, you're sat at a computer, not in the cockpit of a fighter jet. Calm down.
See, the only thing that I have with mesh seats, because I've got a mesh seat at work, is that when you sit in like a mesh seat, like when your shoulders and when you relax into that chair, the edges that your shoulders and stuff touch, you can feel that frame. Like for me anyway, maybe I'm just a fat twat, God knows,
Maybe.
but like I can feel that where like in a chair like this, it's all with it being having like a like padded surface, I feel more like I'm in comfort. Where with
It's
me
like a
work
nice
one,
big cuddle.
yeah, with me work one with it being wire, it feels like when you go on, like yes, it's good for like a short period of time, but I feel over the longer period it starts to get a little bit more uncomfortable. But that's just my opinion of the mesh ones. But I know Logitech do some office style gaming chairs as well. But
You and
and
Logitech, man, for fuck's sake.
they have. But no, they've got good chairs, man, as well. If before
They
I was
smell
considering
great.
getting the Secret Labs one, before I was considering getting the Secret Labs one, I look at the Logitech ones, and they are rather impressive. If you take a moment to actually have a look at some of those chairs,
Hmm.
they're they're, they're all right. They're all right.
Herman
Yeah.
Miller do a Logitech chair. You'd love that. But it's
I,
1,200 quid.
I was gonna say, but were you not getting a Herman Miller chair?
I was looking at one.
What's a Herman Miller Badoo backflip chair? What? This is news to me.
It's like the Rolls Royce of an office chair. I wasn't looking at a brand new one because let's face it, I haven't got enough money to just go. If I don't fancy treating me arse that much. Like
But you'd get the Scotch glass to go with,
absolutely, why not?
in the red robe that you blitz me for. So it'll be you sitting there in a maroon robe with your Scotch glass and your beer. Jeffrey.
Jeeves. But what's the appeal of these Rolls Royce chairs then? Right, Rolls Royce chairs. Like, what's so special about them then?
Is it sex appeal or is it just mechanical? Has it got good adjustments?
Just plain vanity.
How adjustable the chair is.
Oh, again with the adjustable.
Yes.
Why with adjustability comes comfort, doesn't it? And you sit
Exactly.
when you sit down, you go for comfort.
True.
Absolutely.
True.
If you
Fair
didn't want to
enough.
be comfortable, you'd freaking stand up, wouldn't you?
Well, actually, you say that, but there is actually a market for the desks that will lift up and rise, and you can do all your stuff while standing up. And apparently, it is actually really good for you. So,
Yes, standing desks. We have those at work as well.
yeah. So, funny enough, the story I told you about the guy like instructing the customer how to put the computer back in the box and then fucked off. He had one of them desks at work as well, which I promptly commandeered afterwards. But yeah, like, how would you guys feel about standing up on one of those DSE rigs?
I've done it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
gamed on one.
I've not gamed on one. I've worked from one. Because obviously when I did a section when I was like doing like training people in overseas healthcare for a couple of months, there was a few people that had like they as a like disability assessment, they needed those standing desks, and while I was like obviously taking over people's computers or doing phone calls or anything like that, like using those desks, it was quite comfortable. I couldn't do it all day, mind. I couldn't do it. Like for me to stretch my legs, I'll get up and go outside on my break, go out, have a smoke, have a little bit of a walk around, and then come back and sit down.
Yeah.
I could not stand there for like say 8 hours of shift, and in between those shifts also standing, walking around, and so like I don't think I could do that. That's not my cup of tea. I'm a lazy fuck. I'm happy to admit it.
Trojan? Same. I adhere to this. So
Lazy fuck United.
If I wanted to be uncomfortable, I'd stand up. But I quite enjoy my comfort.
That's because you got shit posture.
I'll stay sitting down. Thank you very much. Of course, I've got shit posture. I got hit by a freaking car on a motorbike.
Oh. Well,
Why was the car on a motorbike?
No, I was on my motorbike. I got hit by a car while on my motorbike.
I know I was just being a fuckwit.
Which obviously is like fucked me back, my shoulders and stuff. So I find it hard to sit still for long periods of time anyway, because the things just tighten up automatically. And even if I'm standing up, eventually the bottom of my back just feels like it's gonna collapse over a long period of time. Even just going shopping now, man. I'm a 29-year-old, and I'm fucked.
Fair
Wish I
enough.
was.
It'll happen one day, Andrew. You'll be all right. Even if we have to, it'll happen.
Little trip to Amsterdam, boys. Go on, take your pick, Andy. He wouldn't even make it, man. He'd fucking drink himself to death on the boat. We're just gonna go for a little swim, boys.
The trip would be wasted on me. Like, I think at this point I'd see a bit of ankle on the way to the boat and just be like, nah, that's it, boys. How we'll go home.
We'll get you one of them special mushrooms. Apparently they make you feel amazing.
I've already got one of them.
Oh,
no.
Just at the tip
A
of the
mushroom
tongue.
in long grass.
Oh, hey, there was this lad that we took to Amsterdam once. It was like a couple over there, like it was for his stag do. He obviously goes in, picks his window, and then a bunch of tourists like come out. Literally about 40, 50 tourists, like with like a tour guide, like comes out, and obviously with us all outside the one window, they've kind of cracked on as to what was going on. So they all gather around this window with us, and then when the guy comes back out, everyone's sat there giving him a big round of applause as he comes out, goes in there with 6 of us waiting at him, comes out with 46, 50 people sat there all giving him a round of applause as he comes out of the window. Oh, it was brilliant.
But that was a shock.
Oh, I bet it was. People with their phones out and everything. Obviously, we weren't because we're cush like that, but with him, oh, it was so funny. It was unbelievable crack. And then I got, then I went on back on the boat, and then I was sat there in me boxers, ready to go to sleep. And then one of the people that we went with kicked the door in, basically grabbed us, put us on his shoulder. I'm sat there just with me boxer shorts on, now else, being dragged around the reception, the foyer, then eventually put down on the middle of the dance floor on the main stage, which was not a fun time. Was it?
You had your boobs out.
Did I even get that far?
I bet you that looked fucking awful.
It was in the middle of the day as well. Sorry, no. I tell a lie. It was when everyone was waiting to get off the boat. We were like standing there waiting to get off. We're on the exit level, so everyone from the upper floors can look down and see. He picks us up, puts us like down, like in the middle of everyone, in the middle of the foyer when everyone's waiting to gan. People had their phones out and found it hilarious. So kind of comes and goes in regards to stuff like that. But basically, Andy, we should get you to Amsterdam because weird shit happens.
I don't need to go to Amsterdam for weird shit to happen.
We just go to work.
I attract that type of crowd when I'm out in town. You know, the type of people that end up like coming over and deciding to have a conversation with me, or like the type of people who would fucking take a snake to the park. It's like, aye, sound.
You say that, but I've seen people walking their cats recently. So yeah, what you make of that? You will.
Expensive cat.
Expensive cat. Yeah.
Walking a cat. Like, I must admit, like, obviously, as you know, I got a cat. And obviously having him, like, he was an outdoor cat, so I got him a harness and a leader so he could still experience outside. But as soon as I put it on him, man, he just, like, bellowed to the floor, like I'd hide an anvil on him or something.
Well, you did.
He was, like, he just wouldn't move, so I'd keep him in for weeks. But, like, I don't think I would have ever, like, took him, like, for a walk around the streets. Because that, like, I don't know.
Because people like me would be laughing at you. Hey, look at that wanker walking his cat.
Tim, I think if me cat's self-respect, like, I think my cat's got his old self-respect. He's a cool cat. He was a little bastard. He ran away once. I think he got lost because he when I did turn up, it was like I'd never seen him in months.
That was 2 months ago, our first podcast. Yeah, Raj times that is.
But
Raj
he's
times.
good now. He's like he clings to the hip most times. He's in the room. He's somewhere hiding somewhere.
Probably judging you on the podcast, judging you in
Probably.
your chair. Who are these two knackers that I'm with? Like,
To be
that
honest,
kind of
right,
stuff.
this is the only chair. Like, he knows he's closed in this chair, so he'll go. The TV one, like I've got chairs, all of that, and he'll go and he'll like coy his claws in the other one. But this one, anytime he gets up, claws are in. Like, he'll not, like, he's always soft pads on my chair. Like, this chair, for some reason, he just knows you don't fuck with this chair.
Even your cat's got a sense of quality leather. That's a big
Yes,
big concern, that mate. Big concern, that.
but you put it in anything else, but not this chair. Not this chair.
Quite
He
well.
jumps up, but you'll not like he'll jump up, but he jumps up soft. Like he'll go pads. He'll not. Normally they go claws to kind of pull in. Doesn't on this one.
Well, this is time for your cat's favourite section of the podcast, and that is going to be one of the more anticipated ones since Trojan's been banging on how he's clearly winning this round. It's time for Did Ye Na? So I'm already going to lose, so I'm just going to go first. Which one did I use? Okay, here we go. The first person convicted of speeding was going 8 miles per hour. Did ye na?
What?
I actually did know that.
Aye?
I didn't.
Go on then, prove it, give insight.
Give insight. So, and I was driving a car, it wasn't a bike. But I don't know much, because it's fairly vague, so I don't know much more other than that.
Okay, so it was a man called Walter Arnold, and he did have a car. It was a Benz, apparently, and the speed limit was 4 miles per hour. 2 miles per hour, which
Might as
means
well have just whacked.
he was going far too fast. So yeah, the constable had to chase him down on his bicycle at 8 miles an hour, and he was given a £4.07. What? This doesn't make any sense. Basically, he got told off and was given a hefty fine for the time for going.
I was saying, like in those days, like £4 was the majority of a week's wage.
Craig, why have you not bought your house yet? Well, because when you bought a house, there were fucking 20 pence. Like, daft cunt. Like, Freddo's were 10 pence worth back then. Now they're nearly £1. So,
What
different give us that shit.
Freddo was half the price of a house.
Yeah. Like, don't give me that.
Houses I could have had with all these Freddos, you know.
So, a house cost fucking £8,000, and now it costs like at least 180 for what this person has. So,
It's like increased by like 170 odd grand or something.
So
what profits they are though, it's crazy.
So yeah, that's my fact of the day. The first person convicted of speeding was going 8 miles per hour, or about as fast as Trojan would run if he ever saw a salad. So who's next?
Absence of laughter means you're not funny.
I am funny.
I'm gonna admit I don't think mine's good as what was this time, so I'll let Roj know. Should I go
No. Come on, you hit us up.
So, did ye know that it is
Why does it keep doing
over here?
Yeah.
Right, so, did ye know that it is legal? So you were allowed to hunt
You know what legal means?
in Michigan.
You know what?
Hunt unicorns.
I did not know that, to be fair.
You'd
have a hard job finding one, like.
I mean,
Exactly, but it's actually within Michigan state law. They're allowed to hunt unicorns.
just for reference, by the way, to our viewers, like me and Hexy do not tell each other what our facts of the day are, and we always seem to have something on the same theme every time. Be it we've had biology ones, we've had human biology ones, we've had sea life at the same time, like, and now we have law related stuff. We don't confer at all, and again it seems to have happened. So Trojan, what is your did ye know?
So, boys, did ye know that there is a species of tick in America where if it bites you, you generate an allergy to eating meat?
Yes, I did know that one.
What?
I did know it was a case. It wasn't that many case on them. But it's not. It's like it's like protein meat, like raw.
All
Red,
meat's protein.
So
No, I
red,
mean,
any meat, so bacon, so wait,
Bacon.
any red meat, so beef, bacon, pork.
Yeah, but it didn't even have to be cooked or something, was it? It was like
No, if it was cooked, you'd still have the same reaction.
Imagine getting like loving all this stuff, and then you get bit by something, and all of a sudden you're allergic to it. That
you
would
can
be
literally
shan.
you can
But
Google this shit.
That's still an amazing fact, that though.
It's called the Amblyoma americanum, or the Lone Star tick, which is in the south of America.
Oh,
And-
I'm spitting facts too.
And basically, what happens is the science behind it is you get a bite off this tick, and you get a sensitivity to alpha gal, and it's called alpha gal syndrome. So alpha gal is like the stuff that's in the meat. But the problem is that a lot of the time it goes undiagnosed because the reaction takes place round about 4 to 6 hours after you eat the meat.
And then you have a
lot of the
sudden
time.
case of death.
Where you can either get like severe stomach cramps, you can get hives. Sometimes you can go into like anaphylactic shocks where like your throat starts closing up and that type of shit. But it's
And then
different
like
from
affect your
person to person.
bowels and stuff and that. Like it can, like people can get really sick from it.
Yeah.
Really, really sick.
Hmm.
But
So,
no, I think that's probably the best one. I'm gonna say.
but you knew it. You knew it.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's still the probably the best fact.
Okay, Andrew, what's your vote?
I am going to go with Craig's, actually.
Cool. I was expecting like something else, Craig's because of, but just Craig. Yeah, okay, cool. Wish more people said my name often. And Trojan, I'm gonna go with yours, making you the second guess winner. I've got. I didn't know your fact. So
For me, I give him the point because it was the most interesting.
no, for you give him the point because it's not me. Like, don't give me that shit.
No.
But yeah, okay. Trojan, you're the second guess to win. But was his better than the ninja fact though, Hexy?
Absolutely.
Mm.
There's a ninja shortage.
The-
There's a
the-
ninja shortage in Japan, or he has a beetle that if it eats you, you can never eat meat again. Like,
I'm inclined for the ninja.
The two totally different, aren't they? That's the thing. It's
Oh, don't give me the politically correct answer. Choose. Choose.
I do quite like the bite. I was automatically thinking superpowers.
But it wasn't superpowers though. It's a super nerf.
I know, but it should be a superpower.
Your base stats get heavily reduced. Like, you can't.
This is minus health. Like what?
Whereas if you're ninjas, so trying to be a ninja, your base stats go up. Like, it's gotta be the ninja one,
Yeah, but
surely.
You're talking such like you gotta think how big a tick is, right? And how big we are, not you, us.
I see ticks up. Wow.
Right, but the thing, something
for reference,
out.
if you want to know the size of a tick, just have a look down your pants, Craig.
Ha ha ha. Very funny. Very funny.
You thought you had a tick until you pissed out of it. Way.
But something of so small, like as you say, beetle to be like a ninja can take people down for days, man. They're trained to do it.
Ninjas still exist, and there's a shortage of them. That's class.
Like ninjas have always been something that exists.
I'm pretty sure this damn little insect always existed for a while as well.
I'm pretty sure that was only something that came to light only within the last 10 years.
Well, I'm pretty sure the lack of ninjas was news to me 2 months ago. Like,
I quite like animals that interest us a lot. I don't know. I don't know. I do like they're both really good. They're both really tough.
so
I do like a human crippling beetle. Like you can that's a secret weapon. You know what I mean? Like you could plant that. somewhere.
balance patch of the human species. Tick.
Yeah.
Release
Massive debuff.
Release the beetles.
Just throw a bunch of them into a city, right, and let human selection happen.
Natural selection.
Like whatever, as long as there's less of it, we'll be good.
Nah, not having it. I'm leaving it to the people who are commenting and watching these videos. Guys, which one do you think is better? Do you think Trojan's fact about the debuff beetle is going to be a thing, the tick? Or do you think it is sandbags, which is there is a shortage of ninjas in Japan? I'm pretty sure that people are going to prefer the ninja. Surely. This one's going to be on the Facebook.
Vote for the ninjas. You are saying that you shag cakes.
And Trojan has spoken.
If you vote for the ticks, your dad's called Roy. So
So that means that you voted for it by default.
I know. Imagine if half of your subscriber base is Daz, just like off chance.
nah. Actually, my dad is called Roy. Okay.
So Trojan gets the vote, my friend.
Nah, not having it. I'm not having it. He's won the day, but I don't think he's won the war. Absolutely not. But Trojan, it'll be absolutely amazing to have you back for another podcast. Yeah, you're more than welcome to rip into Hexy anytime.
Love him too much.
Likes me though.
Love him too much. Look at your little bromance, man. Like,
See, that's what it is, you know. He's just jealous. He's just jealous, and he's like, no, the ninjas are better. The ninjas are better. He's trying to form his own bromance. And Ben's just like, nah, mate.
Remember, boys, we still need to get up and sort that game of pool out. Like,
aye, that's something that needs to happen. But that's a conversation for outside the podcast. So, everyone on the podcast, thank you for participating for another 2-hour one. I've kind of stopped giving a shit about the time, really, as long as I'm having a good crack and a damn good time. Trojan, thanks for being part of the stream. You are more than welcome to join on another one. And Hexy, once you've kind of got your dick deflated a little bit, it's good to have you on stream as well, on podcast. Thanks for being around. And yeah, and thank you to the viewer for watching all the way to the end. And if you do enjoy the content, make sure you hit that like button below. Make sure you hit subscribe. Get your friends involved in it. And next week, we should hopefully have another guest for you from down the other half of the equator. Whether it's this week or next week, it remains to be seen. But that'll be a fun one for you.
You're referring to the Down Under?
I mean, I'm referring to... I mean, was that an accent attempt?
No.
Like...
The Down Under? Or just Down Under?
Down under, yeah. But that sounded like an accent attempt.
No, we're not allowed to do that. That's racial discrimination.
Yeah, no, that was an accent attempt. Get off the screen.
No, it was.
So, yeah, guys. Appreciate you being round to the end. And we'll see you in the next one. I've been Huff. That's been Trojan. And that's been Hexy. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Like, comment, subscribe. Love you. Bye.